Hello everyone and welcome to today's tutorial. My name is DhanDev and in this video we are diving into one of the most essential topics for any Java developer, that is exception handling. So yeah, today we are going to cover about exceptions. We are going to write a code about it. So yeah, before we jump into the code, let's answer a simple question. What is an exception? In Java, exceptions are events that disrupt the normal flow of a program. They occur due to unexpected conditions such as accessing an invalid index in an array. So, understanding exceptions is crucial because it helps us build robust and reliable applications. It prevents programs from crashing and ensure that errors are managed gracefully. So, before diving deep into the exception handling mechanism, let's start by the key concepts of exceptions. So, yeah, what is the importance of exception handling? Exception handling allows your application to manage errors effectively, maintaining a smooth user experience even when something goes wrong. So, briefly, if there is something which goes wrong in your code, if we handle that exception, then it runs smoothly without any error. So, there are two types of exceptions. First one is checked exception. This occurs during our compiling time. So, example is when we try to access a file which is not in the exact folder path, then it will give us a potential input output error. And while coming to the unchecked exceptions, these are occurs due to runtime exceptions such as index out of bound exception, which occurs when you try to access an array element that doesn't exist. So yeah, before we dive into mechanisms, let's understand the keywords which are very much important in exception handling. The first one is try block. So the block where code that might throw an exception if placed is in the try block. So coming to the catch. Catch is used to handle the exceptions that occur in the try block. You can have multiple catch blocks to handle different exception types. So the third keyword is throw. It is used to explicitly throw an exception from a method or any block of code. And coming to the throws, it is similar to throw, but in this it declares a method might throw one or more exceptions. This informs the caller of the method to handle those exceptions. So yeah, coming to the mechanisms, there are mainly three types of mechanisms: try catch, finally throwing exception. But the most common exceptions mechanism handling mechanisms are try catch block because most of the Java developers use this. So coming to the syntax, firstly we write the try keyword and we place the code in the try block which might throw an exception or which we think might throw an exception, and after that this exception is handled through the catch block. And in the catch block, before writing the block of catch, we write keyword called catch and we place the a particular exception in the brackets before after catch. So yeah, let's code it. So yeah, coming to this is the program. So first let's break down the code. So yeah, here the class name is index except, shortly for index exception. So yeah, here I have declared a array which is of 5 elements, but here I have declared seventh element, which is actually gonna give us array index out of bound exception. But here we are using it in try block, so it's not gonna give us exception. It's not gonna give us an error because we are using try and catch blocks. So basically, when we run this, let's run this first. It's gonna give us specific error index out of bound. But why? Let's check it out. So here we have allocated it 5 elements, but here we are trying to assign 10 integer to the seventh index. So this is gonna be index out of bound. So what if we don't use try catch? Instead of this, let's comment everything out. So until here. control slash, and right now let's paste it, and yeah, now let's try to run it. Let's check out what it gives us as output. So yeah, as we can see, it is giving us an error, basically an error. Like index 7 is out of bound for length 5. So why is like that? Why is it running in this? Basically, we are trying in this, but here we are completely executing this, even though it is wrong. And here we have declared it as a exception. So it handles it. JVM handles it through this exception. So yeah, let's see what the change is. Yeah, now it's good. So in this, actually there is also one more code which we can write with this. That is, it is also code for subclass precedence exception over base class. So yeah, if we write this catch, but what happens when we write this catch block over the array index out of bound exception? Basically, it gives us error. But what is it? Let's try to check it out. So here we are giving a generic error on the top of array index out of bound exception, which is actually not a good practice actually, because array index out of bound exception has already been caught in the above code, but we are giving it generic error, which is actually wrong. So the best practice is to write the subclass first and after that base class. So yeah, now it runs. So let's dive back into this. And yeah, finally. So why do we use finally? Finally block is always executed after the try and catch block, regardless of whether an exception occurred or not. It's useful for cleaning up activities like releasing resources. So yeah, let's check the syntax of it. We write finally keyword, and after that we will write the code in the block which will always execute. So yeah, let's understand this better with an analogy. So yeah, try. You borrow the book and try to read. Actually, there is a rules in college libraries, right? After 30 days, after borrowing book, you need to hand over it to the librarian after 30 days, or you need to update or renew it. So yeah, coming to the try block, you borrow the book and try to read it. And coming to the catch, you handle problems like not reading any pages. Finally, after 13 days, ultimately you go to the library whether you finished or not. So yeah, let's see in the code. So yeah, college library example. Second. So yeah, public college library example. So yeah, in this I have written something interesting. So yeah, let's check it out. So there are total pages of 300 and pages per day I have read is 0. But I'm trying here is I have borrowed a book from the college library, and here days to finish is equals to total pages by pages per day. So the total pages of the book is 300, and I have read 0 pages per day, which doesn't complete. Actually, I have not read even a single page. So 300 by 0. Anything by 0 is gonna give us a error in these programs. So yeah. So it goes to the arithmetic exception, and after that, finally block is released. So yeah, let's run this. As the output, we get you borrowed a book from the college library, but I haven't read anything. So it's gonna give us output as oops, you can't finish if you read 0 pages a day. So 30 days are up. You went to the library to update or hand back the book. So yeah, let's change something here in the sixth line. So yeah, let's save it and let's run. As I have read 10 pages per day, 300 by 10 is 30 days. So basically, I have finished the book. So let's see the output. You borrowed a book from the college library. You finished reading up the book in 30 days. 30 days are up. You went to the college library to update or hand back the book. So ultimately, even if try is running or catch is running, final block always runs. Basically, even if there is an exception or not, final block is always executing. So yeah, pro tips. Coming to the pro tips, if you want to, if you want to learn something more, you can come to this Oracle's official documentation exceptions. So yeah, you can also access this exception handlings in GFG, which is nothing but Geeks for Geeks. I will pin down the links in the description. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.